Hi Gemini, welcome to your reading for February 2023. I've pulled some cards for you guys and I've meditated on them for a short while. I do prefer to do it this way because it really just helps me draw out the messages that need to be said. I will be pulling some more cards from this deck. I'm really rubbish because I don't remember the names of the decks. But I mean, maybe I should list them in case anyone's interested. But I will be pulling some more cards from that deck and some oracles and just some messages from spirit. So we're going to go ahead and get right into your reading. If this reading resonates for you, then please like, share and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it helps get these messages out there. And also it kind of just motivates me to keep doing it, to be honest with you. So that's great. So straight into the reading. I can see that you have found out some truth in a situation. Now, the Ace of Swords is showing up right in the middle of your reading. The Ace of Swords talks about the realm of Yetzirah, and the realm of Yetzirah is the astral realm, the realm of the mind. So this reading is very much about your mental state at the moment. I do feel like you're feeling a bit torn. We've got the Two of Pentacles here, and the Two of Pentacles really talks about weighing things up, trying to figure things out, trying to understand which way you need to do things and how you need to go about things. And I also feel like because this is a Gemini reading and you are showing up in your reading here as symbolised by the Lovers, I do feel like you're feeling quite torn at the moment between two things, maybe between yourself and somebody else, because the Lovers can absolutely represent a relationship, but it doesn't have to be a love relationship. This just could be somebody that you love, if that makes sense. So I do feel like there's some going backwards and forwards. It seems to be like this continuous thing that keeps happening with this person. Some truth has been revealed about them. Judgment showing up in the past. So this really talks about something happened that really kind of brought an ending to a situation. And with the sword here, I really feel like that's talking more about your perception of a person was completely destroyed. They showed themselves to be something and somebody that you just didn't even realise, to be honest with you. And I do feel like this kind of impacted you somewhat. It caused a sense of hurt because the swords do cut, they do cut. And this sword talks about cutting through and clarity. So it's almost like you gained clarity in a situation, but it kind of left you in a position of not knowing what to do and where to go and how to deal with it with this Two of Pentacles. This is something that's really kind of getting you in your feels. If you can see in the background, the water, it's kind of like a little bit rough and a little bit rugged. So it's almost like it's stirring up some emotions that you probably haven't experienced before, which is why you're juggling and you're going backwards and forwards and saying, like, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know how to ground this information or ground this knowledge. So yeah, so there's that. On the bottom, kind of, I can't speak. What's grounding this, right? This whole reading is something to do with a relationship. Now, the Lovers is Gemini, so you're showing up in your own reading, but Gemini is all about children. It's all about childhood, but it's all about really kind of a sense of reflection. Geminis tend to be very reflective because they symbolize the twins. So there could be more than one person or one situation involved in this reading, but it's very much about choices and decisions that are heartfelt. It could also symbolize sibling relationships, friendships like local connections, like the friends that are around you, friends that you've known from childhood, since childhood. But those are the type of relationships that's been symbolized here. But like I said, something happened in the past and it really kind of changed your perspective of a person. Pluto comes in and he destroys. He absolutely burns the place to the ground. He doesn't hold back. He doesn't care if it hurts. It doesn't care if you don't want it to happen. It's tough shit, basically. I do believe that there's a sense of karma attached to this as well, because Pluto tends to be very karmic. It rules the psychology. It rules those deep felt emotions that we tend to repress and just push down deep within our psyche. So it's almost like something needs to be acknowledged, something needs to be brought to light, something needs to be processed, and something needs to be transformed. And I do think whatever this information is that was shown to you, it's kind of kickstarting this process of, right, I don't know what to do. It's almost like it's so apparent now that you can't ignore it. It's like, I need to act on this. I need to do something. But at the moment, because this is the pentacle, it's almost like you're feeling a little bit stuck. You're feeling a little bit like, which way do I go with this? How do I navigate this, is what I'm trying to say. So that it has a positive impact, or it kind of goes in my favour, so to speak. Whatever this information was that you found out, I do think that you have like mixed, I won't say mixed messages, but yeah, it could be. But it's almost like, if you look at the sword, on one side we've got this wreath, and it's really kind of abundant, and it's got a rose on, and it's almost like you're saying, oh my God, I'm so glad that I found out. But then on the other side, this side, it's kind of really spiky, and it's almost like, yeah, but the truth hurts. So it's like, I'm glad I know, but yeah, the truth of it has hurt me. And it's because it's completely shattered your perspective of this person. I feel like you probably trusted this person to a degree. With this Two of Pentacles, it's almost like there is this reflect, you know, the twos are very reflective. So it's almost like you saw yourself in this person, or you saw them in you. Like there was some kind of resonance going on between the two of you, if that makes sense. And this has completely just shattered it. I feel like it's kind of drove a bit of a wedge between the two of you as well. I'm definitely feeling like there is this tension of not knowing what to do, actually, with this Two of Pentacles. It's just like Pentacles don't tend to rush. They tend to talk about our stability, our the things that stabilize and ground us. But if you look in this card, it's almost like he's got them in his hands and he's going like this. So it's almost like an instability. So there's some type of instability there, and a little bit of uncertainty, and a little bit of like, you know, just juggling. And I feel like you're just kind of trying stuff. I also feel like there could be a third party, actually, because we've got the Lovers here. Lovers is about a choice, and in the traditional decks, there'd normally be a man. I think it's the Marseille deck. There's a man and there's two women on either side, and it's a card of choice. So I feel like you feel like you're being torn in two at the moment, because it's like there's two kind of contributing factors, and this is you in the middle, and you're kind of holding that tension and saying like, if I could split myself in two, I would. If I could section myself off, you know, use that sword of truth and split myself in two. So I feel like with this, because it's a Gemini reading, and you Geminis tend to relate to quite a lot of people, actually, it's almost like you're being asked to operate as two separate people at the moment. And I feel like that's causing a sense of tension, because you're saying, look, I just want to be myself. I just want to do things my way, you know. I just want to be me, basically. And it's almost like you're being torn apart. I also feel like this is an evolvement mentally for you as well. It's almost like spirit is forcing you out of this perspective that you've kind of used for quite some time, because we use perspectives. That's what we do. We use them to see things a certain way. And it's almost like in the past something happened and said, nope, not today. This is like a final judgment, final call. You may have even given someone a final chance, or there's just some finality. It's almost like a finality to the way that you view this person, finality to the way that you deal with this person, because it's almost like there's no going back from this. The Lovers showing up at the bottom of the deck really tells me that you're invested in this situation emotionally. there is some I'm getting like chemistry. It's like chemistry. There is some chemistry, or something like that. There's like a separation in this chemistry. I wouldn't say it's like a separation in relationship. I'd just say like maybe you're realizing that you are actually a little bit different to this person, or this person does things differently to you, or there is just like a sense of difference, okay, or indifference even, like we feel indifferently about this. So you could be like on opposing sides to another person in regards to whatever this truth is that's come out. I do feel it is in relation to family, because we've got the Ten of Cups here. Now, the Ten of Cups talks about emotional fulfillment, being around the ones that you appreciate and value, and the ones that appreciate and value you. There's a lot of happiness in this card, and it's a really, really good card. And this is a card of emotional fulfillment. So I don't feel like you're kind of going through it to a point of depression. And I do feel like there is a lot of joy, and there's a lot of good times, and there's a lot of pleasure, and there's a very much a feeling of like this familial love, and it's widespread as well. So it could be symbolic of family, like family members, like I was saying earlier, like siblings, or even cousins. It could even symbolize cousins as well. Obviously brothers, sisters, siblings. But this is really telling me that this has something to do with the family, something to do with, it's almost like someone's rocked the boat. Things are going really, really well. We were getting along swimmingly, is what I'm hearing. We were getting along swimmingly, and then this truth of the situation just went boom, smacked you in the face, and it's like, right, well, that's just over now, isn't it? That's just over. It's not going to be that way. I'm not going to perceive the situation this way anymore. You could be kind of looking out for tidbits of information. You could be doing a little bit of stalking, looking for information, kind of outsourcing is what I'm trying to say, or really just kind of being very reserved, but being very, very vigilant, listening to people's words, listening to what they're saying, listening to bits of information that you hear. But not really acting on it or talking about it at this time. It's almost like you are really being, the swords are very projective, but with the page here, it's almost like there's this silence, because this is known as the spy, the card of the spy. And it's kind of like, I'm not going to really do much, but I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to withdraw my energy, because pages, even though swords are projective, pages are receptive. So it's kind of like, again, there's this tension or this vacillation of some kind, and it's almost like this, I don't know, just perceiving, looking out for information. It's almost like since you found out this truth in this situation, whatever that might maybe for you, it's a general reading, so take it how it resonates. But whatever you found out, it's almost like you are trying to gain clarity or learn more about it, or you might be going to people to find out, or you might just be keeping that ear out. I really just feel like you're doing the most when it comes to validating your own thoughts on this situation. We do have the Ace of Rods showing up. Now, this is basically telling me that the effects of this situation are going to be diminished. They are going to, I feel like in the future, you're going to be able to laugh about this, because the ones represent humour. They represent communication, but it's not harsh, cold communication like this truth is that you found out. It's not that. It's almost like now it's like it's quite funny. You're kind of looking at it and going, "Oh God, do you remember when?" Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like what I really want to say in this reading is, I feel like with this Judgment and this Lovers, these are the big players. Okay, so it's very much in relation to a relationship and something ending in a relationship. Now, this could be an ending of a relationship, but in actual fact, I feel like this is more a renewal of a relationship. It's almost like new life will spring from this. I believe that this has happened, and this is what I'm channeling now. So I believe Spirit had to do this to you in order to renew this relationship, in order for you to perceive this person in a different way, in order for you to approach them in a different way, it's almost like how you was approaching them in the past was kind of having a detrimental effect on them as well with this Pluto energy, because that's destructive. It's kind of, Pluto breaks down, it breaks down. I think Uranus is probably more of the breakdown, but it's ruled by Mars. Mars rules the tower. So Pluto has this capacity to break things down to their seed, to their truth, to their core. And it's almost like it's rocked you to the core, this situation. It's almost like, oh my God, we're here, we've arrived. But I'm hearing that it's not something that you could avoid. Again, this could be in relation to things that you probably considered taboo with Pluto. Pluto is very much about sex, transformation that comes from that. It talks about regeneration. So it really is, again, feeding into that energy of being revitalized, rejuvenated, something being born from something that has now passed away and has come to an end. I feel like something, it's kind of like the lifespan of a situation was up, or the lifespan of a perception surrounding a situation was up, and now it needed to be, spirits come in and said, no, that's not what we're doing no more. And it's almost like it's kickstarted this new, like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? How do I navigate this situation? How do I perceive this person? How do I communicate with them? Is this person being honest and truthful with me? So you're really kind of paying attention to the things that this person's talking about right now. You're really kind of keeping that beady little eye on them, and you're really listening. This is the card of listening. This isn't really a card of talking, it's a card of listening, but with clarity. Like, I am watching you when you're speaking, I am looking at your mannerisms, I'm asking you questions and seeing what your responses are. Again, I think this is a case of not taking something at face value. And then what you're doing is you're trying to connect the dots and seeing if it adds up and saying, does this situation make sense? Like, do I believe that there is truth in these words? Is this something that I can, agree with or reach some type of agreement on? It's really, what's the word? Testing you. This is what I'm trying to say. This is a test. This is a test from spirit. This is a test from spirit, and I feel like I'm hearing now, emotionally fulfilled. Emotional fulfillment is going to come from this. I feel like there's a bit of a purging going on as well, because with Pluto, we tend to purge what we repress, and it's almost like something that didn't want to be acknowledged or something that didn't want to be dealt with. It's kind of like it slapped you in the face so hard that you don't have a choice but to deal with it. But it is going to bring a sense of emotional fulfillment, and it's going to bring a sense of healing. The Ten of Cups is very much a card of healing, and is, the rainbow in the card is almost like a promise that, you're not going to have to go through this again. Like, this is it. This is the thing that's going to cause you pain. This is the thing that's going to cause you struggle. This is the thing that's going to cause you a sense of hardship. And, I don't know what to do. Like, how do I do this? This is it. It's like Spirit's blown his trumpet, however you want to perceive him. But it's almost like saying, like, this is the hard part. The hard part's out the way. This is showing up in the past. Whatever you've been going through, whatever you've been dealing with this past, I don't know, let's just call it a year, this past year or so, it's almost like that's the hard bit out of the way. Emotional fulfillment is promised here, but I do think that there's a little bit more work that needs to be done with this Two of Pentacles. It's almost like you're really kind of just trying to find your bearings at the moment, maybe trying to come to terms with certain things, really trying to find your feet and, solid ground. I think things may have been a little bit up in the air for you at the moment, but things may have been a little bit up in the air for you in the past. that was not wanting to come out. You could be struggling with your communication skills, maybe not knowing what choice of words to use with particular people, how to communicate yourself properly, how to be heard. I feel like you may be struggling to be heard right now, especially with, we've got Mercury showing up. This is Gemini, this is Mercury. Now, this isn't practical Mercury like Virgo. This is knowledgeable Mercury, knowing what to say, knowing what to do, knowing how to be, knowing what that other person wants to hear. It's very much in your head. Like I said, this reading is all about the mental. It's about your interaction with another, your interaction with others, and how you're perceiving and how you're choosing to use that information, or how you're choosing to deal with this situation based on your perception. It's completely shattered. It's gone now. It's almost like you're starting anew. You need to say, right, this needs to change. It needs new life breathing into it. It's almost like you've got like an invested interest in it now, because you really need to pay particular attention to the details and the messages and the words that people are speaking, so that you can use them. I do feel like the hurt that you've experienced from finding out this truth, like I said, you're glad, but it's also caused I'm hearing like a pin, I'm not hearing, I'm seeing like a pin, like it stabbed a bit, it hurt a bit. It's just, like I wasn't expecting that kind of thing. It's not the worst hurt. This is what I'm getting. It's not the worst hurt, but it was just a bit like, I wasn't expecting that. And it's kind of just hurt your heart a little bit, is what I want to say. Spirit's actually saying, this is going to be something that you laugh about eventually, whether it be with this person or with somebody else. I feel like you've been quite reactive to this situation. I feel like you reacted in a certain way, or there's just been some really strong, it's kind of invoked quite a strong reaction from you. That is what I want to say. And it's a bit like, and you've been called to the stand now, and you've been a bit like, right, what do I need to do? I need to take some form of action. And you will. This is showing up in the future, so you will know what to do when the time's right. Things sometimes need to just come together, in just so that, and then that's when that realization comes to us of, all right, now I need to know what to do, all right, now I need to act, or now I need to have this conversation, or, just something along those lines. I'm going to pull some more cards. I'm trying to keep this reading. Sorry about that, Gemini. I had to take a phone call, so excuse me. I think I'm going to move on and pull some extra cards for you. I think you've kind of got the gist of that reading. It's very much about, again, your mental state at the moment, your perspective. I do think that things are going to kind of seem less, they're not going to hurt as much. They're not going to pierce as much in the future. It's like it's going to dull. The pain of the truth that you found out is going to be, it's going to kind of, it's not going to pierce as much as it has done. And I do see like this is like a phase. It's kind of, this is needed to happen. This is absolutely needed to happen, because when Pluto shows up, it really tells us that there is some transformation that needs to take place. There is a purging that needs to take place. Pluto is all about purging that, purging and getting out that raw emotion, really, that raw, like that thing that's really causing us a sense of pain and difficulty. I feel like this has kind of, it's almost like I'm getting this vision of, like, imagine like a piece of cloth, like a black cloth, and getting a knife and poking a hole in it. And it's almost like the knife's being pulled out, but now you can see this whole other world. And it's almost like you're being asked to step into that, like change your perspective, like the way that you're viewing things at the minute, it's not really getting you anywhere. So you're being asked to step into like a new skin. That's what I'm getting. It's almost like the snake that sheds its skin so that it's renewed. It's very much like a spiritual evolution, like a Kundalini awakening here. almost like you're growing into another person, and it's because of some external event, external situation that you've had to manage. So we'll pull some more cards, see if we can get any more messages on this. I hope the lighting's okay. I'm sat in a really weird place. The lighting keeps changing. It's a hard life. It really is. I keep looking down here for the camera, and the camera's up here, so apologies for that. I will get used to it. Queen of Cups, the Queen of Swords, and the Two of Cups. Okay, so this could indicate a new relationship, right? But again, what I'm getting with this Queen of Swords energy is your perspective on the situation. The Queen is someone who is very analytical, very logical, very, she goes over the details with a fine-tooth comb. She really looks for that answer. She really tries to balance. She's all about harmony and balancing and reaching a state of equilibrium. Like, she just wants harmony. We've got this Queen of Cups. This is the card of the empath. This is the feeler. This is the one that feels. This is about intuition, that psychic ability. This is clairsentient. You're feeling your way through this situation, but you're attaching it to your mental. Like I said, this reading is all about you evolving to a state of balance when it comes to your emotions and when it comes to your mental. I feel like these are things that need balancing. And again, it's showing up with this Two of Pentacles, and there's a need to bring these two things into balance. Whatever's gone down, whatever's happened, this again, like it could be in relationship with a partner, there's a state of balance that needs to be achieved. Maybe you're operating on two different vibrations at the moment, and it's like, look, we need to harmonize this. We need to bring this into harmony. We need to, I'm also hearing like neutralize, because this is what the swords do. They neutralize and they keep the balance between our emotions and our drives. Our thoughts are the things that we use to keep the balance. And the Two of Cups showing up again. So now I'm really going back to what I was saying about chemistry, like the chemistry in this situation. It's almost like it was falling away, or you were kind of looking at this person and saying, you're not actually just like me. Like, it's almost like you are a person in your own right. So you were noticing the differences. This really talks about those, a re-emergence of those chemistries working together. Again, it's almost like a situation had to come about so that it could break something down for it to then harmonize. I think that's what we're trying to get at. It's almost like when something becomes a little bit contaminated, I feel like there's a sense of contamination here. It's almost like separating the two opposing substances so that they can return to their natural state, so that they can then come back together again. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. We'll pull some out of this deck. This is a deck that I made. So we'll get some messages from here to see if there's something more that Spirit can add to this reading. I hope this reading resonated for some of you, most of you. If it does, leave a comment, share and like. Liberation. So that's really feeding into that Queen of Swords energy, liberation. You just want liberating from this situation. This truth, whatever came about, this thing that kind of caused you a sense of hurt, a sense of pain, it's actually liberating you. And that's what I'm getting with this Ace of Rods. It's almost like you're not going to feel the same. Like, once this situation has happened and played out, it's almost like you're going to feel a sense of liberation. And it's kind of like, if it ever happens again, the force of it isn't going to be felt in the same way. It's going to be more of a thud rather than a piercing. That's what I'm getting. So you are going to be liberated. And again, it adds into this phoenix-like liberation, this energy of, let's put the past in the past. Let's not dwell on that anymore. Let's move past it. But you're kind of moving past it with a very clear perspective, with a very clear idea of who this person is and what they're about. I feel like there's a lot of self-soothing going on, especially with this Queen of Cups. This Queen of Cups is someone who, she's the one that cares for and looks after and takes care of. And I just feel like she gives a lot, and quite often she gives more than she actually gets back. So there's this energy of being liberated and saying, look, I'm not going to worry myself about that anymore. If that's how you want to go on, if that's how you want to be, if that's how you want to present yourself, if that's how you want to approach life, then you do that, because I'm letting it go. It's almost like you just don't want to deal with it anymore. You're liberating yourself from it and you're saying, do you, boo-boo, do you. Caught up in the middle. Again, this represents that tension that I'm saying between maybe two opposing things, two people, two places, two events, two of something. You're caught in the middle. There's this tension there, and it really refers back again to that, what I was saying, of you feel like you want to split yourself, but you can't. So there's this tension that you're holding on to and you're feeling, and you're really saying, like, when is this going to end? When is this going to end? And you want liberation from that. And I've dropped the card, and I feel like you are going to take progressive steps forward with this Ace of Rods. This is showing up in your future. This is talking about baby steps. Do the work, take the action. Don't speak about it, be about it. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Don't second guess yourself. Don't question it. Just act on instinct, because usually 9 times out of 10, your instincts are the things that will get you where you need to be. We can get caught up in our negative thought cycles that can keep us very stuck. This is asking you to emerge and venture into new territory. Absolutely. Secrets exposed. So there was some truth that you found out in a situation. There was some kind of painful experience that you had to go through, but this is really talking, again, I'm hearing that this truth's been exposed. You're happy about it, but at the same time you're not. Maybe you're a little bit disappointed in it at the same time, but it is going to provide a sense of liberation for you. It's going to, you might not be able to see it right now, because I still feel like you're in this energy of, oh, what do I do about this? But I do think that, time is a healer. And I feel like you're going to see things from a different perspective. I think you need to allow yourself the headspace, because sometimes when we operate on such a narrow perspective, it's almost like there's so much that we're missing. I feel like you really need to open up, especially with this Judgment card. It's like the phoenix. It's almost like a revitalization, a broad perspective, taking everything into account, taking everything into consideration, in order to purge and just move on from this situation. You don't want to stick around in it. I'm not saying that you want to get away from a person. I do think that there's love here. I do think that there is, this is kind of like soulmates, that I know you, I love you, like you are me. So I don't feel like, and there is a good, and when I say chemistry, again, it doesn't have to be love. This could just be chemistry between friends. Like, sometimes you have this really good friend that you just get on with. It's like, God, we are vibing, man. We're vibing. We're good friends. We are good. Like, this is my girl. This is my man. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like you do have that with this person, whoever it is you're dealing with. It's almost like you don't want to throw it away. But I'm not going to lie, you hurt my feelings. You may be kind of throwing some digs at this person as well. Maybe kind of like in communication, in conversation, because you don't know how to approach a situation in a very grown-up way, is what I'm trying to hear. You're trying to hear what I'm actually hearing. You kind of, you're giving digs, little digs, like, and probing them. And I feel like that's in an attempt to make them feel bad. Kind of a form of punishment. I've probably... kind of a form of punishment, really. And Pluto does punish. I mean, Saturn really as well, but Pluto, it's the planet that rules crime. And we've got Libra showing up with the Queen of Swords, so it's almost like someone being punished for something that they did. Doesn't have to be severe punishment, because this is actually civil. Libra rules civil court, not high court. So it's almost like civil punishment. It's almost like a sit on the naughty step, get on the naughty step. It's that kind of energy. So that's what you're experiencing at the moment. This is gonna pass. I just feel like this is a phase. This is a phase that I think you're focusing on and you're concentrating on because it's part of something bigger, which is really you purging old belief systems, old patterns, old negative cycles, things, this is the ending. This is like karmic cycles closing out. With Pluto, things are never going to be the same. Your perspective of this person is never going to be the same. It's almost like you're stepping into a whole new world. You're stepping into a whole new idea and understanding of this particular person's situation or thing. When judgment shows up, it's you're using your judgment. That's what this Knight of Swords is. This is somebody using their judgment and their discernment, especially with the Queen of Swords. It's like, no, I'm watching you, bitch. I am watching you. I feel like you don't want to be fooled again. So yeah, let's see what these cards have to say for you. So we've got 3 that fell out, and I'll read them all. So you've got, I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. So again, very much about changing your perspective on a situation, very much about seeing things through the eyes of love, trying to accept, trying to harmonize, and trying to reach a level of, okay, I get it. Okay, let me just level with you. Okay, maybe I over-exaggerate it. Something like that. So that's that one. And then true healing occurs when I give myself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the triggers. Again, this is talking about Pluto and that purging and that need to purge energy that is just stagnant. It's just sitting there. True healing occurs when I give myself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the triggers. So it may even be that if you were deceived by this person, it's kind of like revealing some triggers that you have, maybe that were formed in your past life, not past life, but in the past. It's almost like it's unearthed, and it's kind of, this is what I was getting with the sword, that it's almost like you are being triggered. It's almost like you're being triggered, and you're being triggered by things that have already happened in the past. And then the final card that we've got is the presence of love will always cast out fear. Now, Taurus got this, I think, so you could be dealing with a Taurus, but this is basically saying, bring love into this situation. Bring love into this situation. I really feel like there's a big need to communicate. Communication is a big thing here. Being honest, being open. And also I think that communication is really going to feed into that purging that needs to take place with the Judgment card. You may be casting judgment on people. You may be feeling judged right now. Love needs to be brought back into this scenario, and just a level of understanding, something to that nature. So that's your reading, Gemini. I'm going to leave it there. If you like the reading, please like, share and subscribe. It helps the channel, and I'd be really appreciative of that, because it just motivates me to keep putting these videos out there for people that need to hear the messages. If you want to reach out, then do so. All my information is in the description box, and until I see you next time, Gemini, I'll see you soon.